Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. Today, we are going to really zero in on something super important. And that's the very first step in the SSB process.
Absolutely.
The Services Selection Board.
Yes.
We're going to really help you ace that first hurdle.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the screening test on day one.
Right.
This is the test that determines whether you are going to move forward or head back home.
That's right.
So our mission is pretty clear today.
Yeah.
We're going to break down the screening test,
Absolutely.
what it is, and most importantly, how to navigate it.
Okay.
So there are two main parts to the screening test.
There are two parts.
First is the Officer Intelligence Rating Test,
Yes.
OIR.
OIR.
This is a written test
It is.
that assesses your reasoning skills.
Reasoning skills.
And the second is the Picture Perception and Discussion Test,
PPDT.
PPT.
Yes.
You got it.
That's right.
This is where you look at a picture, you write a story, and then you discuss it in a group. So let's unpack the first one.
Okay.
The OIR,
Yeah.
a written test with multiple choice questions.
Yes.
But it's not about, like, general knowledge.
No, it's not.
It's about how you think.
Yeah, it's how you think.
So,
So the OIR test has two main sections,
okay.
which checks different types of reasoning.
Okay.
First, you have verbal reasoning,
Okay.
which looks at how well you can use words and language logically.
Okay, so verbal reasoning.
Yeah.
Give me some examples of what I might see there.
Okay, so you might encounter coding, decoding questions.
Okay.
Like, if Apple becomes BQMMF,
Okay.
can you figure out what banana would be?
Interesting.
Then there are analogies
Right.
where you see a relationship between two words.
Okay.
Say hot and cold.
Uh-huh.
And you need to find a similar relationship for another word like day.
Okay.
Synonyms and antonyms.
Right.
Will test your vocabulary.
Okay.
Knowing words with similar or opposite meanings.
Yeah.
You'll also see series completion, where you have a sequence of letters or numbers, and you need to figure out the next one in the pattern.
Got it.
And sometimes you'll get jumbled sentences
Right.
that you need to put in the correct order to make sense.
Okay, so it's really testing your word smarts
Yeah. Your word smarts.
in different ways.
Uh-huh.
Now, what about the other side of the OIR?
Yes.
You mentioned nonverbal reasoning.
Nonverbal reasoning.
What's that all about?
So nonverbal reasoning is about your ability to see patterns and solve problems using visual information
Okay.
without relying on words.
Okay.
Imagine figure matching, where you have to pick out the identical shape from a set of options,
Okay.
or paper folding,
Yeah.
where you need to visualize how a piece of paper will look after it's folded and then a hole is punched in it.
Paper folding.
Yeah,
That sounds tricky.
it is. It is.
I can imagine getting totally lost in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So pattern completion asks you to identify the missing piece in a visual sequence. You might also see mirror and water images testing your spatial awareness. And finally, embedded figures,
Oh.
where you have to find a small shape hidden within a larger, more complex picture.
So this is really a workout for the brain.
It is.
So if someone is looking at this OIR test and thinking, how do I even begin to prepare?
Right.
What advice can you give them?
Okay, so the most important thing truly is regular practice.
Okay.
Think of it like exercising a muscle.
Uh-huh.
The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Right.
There are many books specifically designed for reasoning tests
Okay.
and doing mock tests
Good.
that simulate the real OIR environment is incredibly helpful.
So practice tests.
Yeah, practice tests.
Okay.
This will get you familiar with the types of questions.
Uh-huh.
And importantly, help you understand where you might be making mistakes.
Yep.
For verbal reasoning,
Yeah.
focus on timed exercises that simulate the pressure of the actual test.
So practice under pressure.
Yeah, practice under pressure.
Okay, what else can people do?
Okay, so you need to work on both your speed and your accuracy.
Okay.
In the OIR, time is usually limited,
Right.
so you need to be able to solve questions quickly without making silly mistakes.
That makes sense.
Effective time management during the test itself is also crucial.
Okay.
Don't spend too long on a question you're stuck on.
Okay.
Mark it and come back to it later if you have time.
Good tip, don't get bogged down.
Yeah, don't get bogged down.
Are there any specific techniques people can use?
Yes. So for nonverbal reasoning,
Yeah.
really focus on developing your ability to spot patterns.
Okay.
Look for how shapes change,
Yeah.
their orientation, and the logical sequence in a series of figures
Okay.
for both verbal and nonverbal questions.
Yeah.
Try to understand the underlying logic rather than just memorizing tricks.
Okay.
Knowing why an answer is correct is more valuable than just knowing the answer.
Interesting.
And this is important.
Okay.
Try your best to stay calm and focused during the test.
Oh.
If you get anxious, it can make even simple questions seem difficult.
Right.
Take a deep breath if you feel overwhelmed.
So good strategies.
Good strategies.
Let's switch gears a little bit
Okay.
to the second part of the screening test.
All right.
The PPDT,
PPT.
the picture perception and discussion test.
Yes.
This sounds a little bit more, I don't know, less about right or wrong answers
Yeah.
and more about your interpretation and how you communicate.
Exactly. You're right.
Okay.
It's a different kind of assessment.
Okay.
In the PPDT,
Yeah.
you'll be shown a picture.
Okay.
Often it's a bit hazy or unclear for
Fair.
just 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Just half a minute.
That's barely enough time to register what's going on.
Right.
So in that brief moment,
Mm-hmm.
what should you be trying to focus on?
Okay. So in those crucial 30 seconds,
Yeah.
try to get a mental picture of the key elements.
Okay.
How many people do you see?
Huh.
What do you think their age and gender might be?
Right.
What's their overall mood? Do they seem happy? Sad, worried?
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in trying to see every tiny detail.
Okay.
Focus on the main figures in the general scene.
So a quick mental snapshot
Yeah, a quick mental snapshot.
of the characters and the situation.
Huh?
Then you have to write a story
Yeah.
in just 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
What makes for a good story in the PPDT?
So an effective story usually has a positive and logical flow.
Okay.
It should have a clear beginning,
Yeah.
where you set the scene and introduce your characters.
Mm-hmm.
Then a middle where some action or a problem unfolds.
Okay.
And finally, an end where the situation is resolved.
All right. Beginning, middle, and end.
That's right.
What if the picture evokes a negative initial feeling?
Right.
Is it always best to force a positive narrative?
That's a good question.
Or is there room for addressing a challenge
Yeah.
that ultimately leads to a positive resolution?
So while a positive outcome is generally preferred, a logical story that addresses a challenge and shows problem-solving skills is also highly valued.
Okay.
The key is to show that you can think constructively and find solutions.
So a mini story with a proactive central figure
Yeah.
and a resolution.
Yes.
So what happens once everyone has pinned their tails?
So after everyone has written their story,
Yeah.
the group discussion phase begins.
Okay.
Each person will narrate their story to the group in about a minute.
Right.
After everyone has shared, the group will then have a discussion.
So this is where the discussion part really comes in.
Exactly.
What are the assessors looking for during this group interaction?
So they're looking at several things.
Okay.
First, can you express your ideas clearly and confidently when you narrate your story?
Uh-huh.
Second, are you a good listener?
Okay.
Do you pay attention to what others are saying
Right.
and understand their interpretations of the picture?
Got it.
And third, can you contribute meaningfully to the group discussion?
Okay.
Can you offer logical points? Build on other people's ideas
Yeah.
and work towards a common understanding of the picture?
So it's not about being the loudest person in the room
Absolutely not.
or trying to impose your story on everyone else.
No. In fact, being overly aggressive or argumentative is usually seen negatively.
Okay.
The emphasis is on teamwork and cooperation.
Right.
You should aim to contribute constructively by sharing your thoughts,
Uh-huh.
but also by listening to others, respecting different viewpoints, and trying to find common ground.
Right.
If you disagree, do it respectfully and explain your reasoning calmly.
Got it.
The ability to work together is key.
So to recap the PPTT,
Yes.
observe quickly.
Observe quickly.
Identify the key figures in their mood.
Yes.
Write a structured and positive story with a responsible main character.
Mm-hmm.
Narrate it clearly.
Narrate it clearly.
And then participate in the group discussion
Right.
with a cooperative and logical approach.
Exactly.
You got it.
Yeah.
So this deep dive has been incredibly helpful
It,
in understanding this first crucial step in the SSB. So for you, the listener,
yes.
remember that the screening test with both the OIR and the PPT
Yeah.
is really that initial filter. It's
It's-
designed to quickly assess your basic intelligence,
Yes.
your communication abilities,
That's right.
and how well you function as part of a team.
Uh-huh.
So clearing this stage
Yeah.
is what allows you to move on to the more detailed assessments
Right.
in the later stages of the SSB.
Yeah.
So as you prepare, focus on sharpening your reasoning skills with practice
Absolutely.
and on developing your ability to observe,
Mm-hmm.
create a coherent and positive narrative,
Yes.
and engage constructively in group discussions.
That's right.
And keep in mind, while the screening test is a significant first hurdle,
Yes.
it's just one part of the overall selection process.
That's true.
Understanding it well can definitely give you a confidence boost.
It will.
Now,
Yeah.
Here's a final thought for you to chew on. How can understanding these initial assessment criteria,
Right.
focusing on intelligence, communication, and teamwork, how can that not only help you prepare for the SSB,
Yeah.
but also guide you in your own personal development
Yeah.
and in cultivating the qualities that are essential for effective leadership
Yeah.
and collaboration in any area of life?
Exactly.
Think about that.
Okay.
We look forward to our next deep dive with you.